Welcome to the Free Library of Philadelphia. My name is Liz Fitzgerald, and I'm the coordinator of the Free Library's Culinary Literacy Center, which is an innovative kitchen classroom space where we are connecting literacy and cooking. You can find out more about our array of exciting classes at freelibrary.org/cook. From its award-winning author event series to its state-of-the-art Culinary Literacy Center, the Free Library is dedicated to advancing literacy, guiding learning, and inspiring curiosity through thought-provoking programs and life-changing resources. Many of the library's most beloved programs and services are made possible only with the help of private support. Please make a gift of whatever amount you are able to help the Free Library transform lives. You can do so online at freelibrary.org/support. It is now my pleasure to introduce Philadelphia's own virtuoso chef and a committed leader in improving the lives of our city's children, Chef Marc Vetri. Chef Vetri brings a bold, contemporary sensibility to classic Italian cuisine served at his family of local restaurants, including Vetri, Osteria, Amis, Alla Spina, Lo Spiedo, and Pizzeria Vetri, where at lunchtime on any given day, you can find many Free Library staff members. The Philadelphia Inquirer has called him a singular leader for his generation, and he has received numerous awards and honors, including the James Beard Award for Best Chef Mid-Atlantic. Most recently, he was nominated for a James Beard Award for Outstanding Chef. His Vetri Foundation for Children promotes healthy eating and lifestyle choices among at-risk youth and has been a wonderful partner in the Culinary Literacy Center. More than just a name attached to the foundation, Chef Vetri fills the role of committed teacher. This past school year alone, he has taught over a dozen classes to Philadelphia students in the Free Library's kitchen classroom. For a man who is running 7 restaurants, this is no small feat. I can't speak enough to his commitment to enacting change through healthy eating and empowering children and teens through cooking. Chef Vetri has written 2 previous cookbooks, and in his newest, called Mastering Pasta, he celebrates and expands on the art of pasta making. As anyone who has had the pleasure of enjoying a meal at one of his restaurants knows, Chef Vetri's pasta is truly transcendent. Tonight, he will be interviewed by Maureen Fitzgerald, the food editor of the Philadelphia Inquirer. Maureen writes a column called My Daughter's Kitchen, and she also teaches Philadelphia school children the basics of simple, healthy cooking in schools and venues throughout the city, including our Culinary Literacy Center. Maureen has enlisted the help of one of our city's top chefs to help with spreading the message of good food, whose own foundation is aligned with the same ideals. None other, of course, than Chef Vetri. It's wonderful to have them here with us tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming Marc Vetri and Maureen Fitzgerald to the Free Library.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for coming. First of all, I just want to congratulate Marc. What a really impressive thing that he is nominated, one of 5 chefs in the country to be nominated for Best Chef in the whole country, beyond the Mid-Atlantic region, the whole country, and well-deserved.
Thank you very much.
So I have a few questions here for you.
I hope so. Thank you.
And we'll just jump right in.
Sure.
When was the first time that you made pasta, and was it
When was the first time
transformational?
You know what? I don't even really remember that. That was like years and years and years ago. So I used to make it. So my father's family, they're from Italy, and so they lived in they lived in South Philadelphia, So we used to head down there Sundays and have those the large family meals, and we used to have the meatballs and the lasagna, and all that stuff. And I always loved that, but I don't really remember it being this really like, wow, this is what I have to do for the rest of my life.
Did you cook pasta
Yeah,
with them? You made the
so
pasta?
I used to actually love heading down there early, and actually working working with them, learning all that stuff. I actually think when I went to live in Italy, so this is obviously a lot later. So I moved out to Los Angeles, and I was out there from 1990 to 1994, and I was just kind of working out there, and the food out there was a little bit sort of odd then. It was like this weird sort of California style, back in the 90s. I did not understand it at all, especially coming from here. So I was out there, and I didn't understand it all, and they had some things out there, but I didn't like it at all. And then in 1994, I had the opportunity to move to northern Italy, and that was almost instant. When I arrived there, and I started to watch them sort of make things, and that's really when I think realized right away that this is really really what I want to do. So.
And so that's when you realized it was what you wanted to do, but you're obviously a great talent.
Obviously. Why else would all these people be here watching? Amazing talent.
But when did you know that? When did you know that you were?
I don't really. Honestly,
You're so humble.
I don't mean to sound. No, I don't think that I am. I just. I think that I am one of the lucky ones who loved something, and so I get to wake up. And I get to make a living doing what I love. That's just kind of the way that I look at it. I don't look at it like I'm doing anything that's like mind blowing, or not like sending anyone to the moon or anything. Just making ravioli. It's not like it's eggs, flour, it's a ricotta. It's not rocket science.
You make it sound so easy.
It is. It is pretty easy.
All right, so this is your...
For me, I guess it's easy.
This is your third cookbook.
This is my third cookbook.
And I read that you wanted to write about pasta in your first cookbook, but you wanted to study it more, and you studied and researched it for 10 more years. What sort of set you on this pasta quest?
Well, that's sort of what happened, but not. I actually would have loved to write this thing, first, but they would never let me do it, because they were
the publishing
Yes,
industry.
they were like, a single subject, it's never going to sell, So the first one, they wanted me to write about the restaurant, which obviously. So I did, and then after that, I actually wanted to write about it again, and they were like, single subject, not so cool, So I was home, rustic Italian. They're like, okay. So then this one, they were like, single subject sounds incredible. I was like, oh wow, my God, how about that? But the research of it just, so when when I started off to write this, I didn't think that I would end up, you know, writing it the way that I actually wrote it. You know, I thought, well, you know, here's a list of the recipes. You know, we're going to do the filled pasta section, to this, to that, and then, you know, what happened was I actually went to this was a seed conference. It was at this, what's it called, Stone Barns, and the chef there, Dan Barber, he invited me up there, and it was like the week that I was actually leaving for Italy for the research, and I was like, no, I'm not going to be able to make it, you know, and you know, he was like, listen, I really think you should make it. And I was like, okay. He's like, you have to be there. So I was like, all right, let me, you know, he was really sort of, you know, forceful with me, and I was like, all right. So I went, and thought it was, you know, there was some farmers there, some chefs there, and there was some seed breeders there, and this one man there, he was from the bread lab out in was out in Washington State, and his name was Dr. Stephen Jones, and his lecture was, I mean, for me it was just like really eye-opening, you know, for me, you know, because I never really thought about, you know, flour and about like the wheat, the way that he was actually discussing it, you know. So I went there, listened to him. Then I went to Italy, and I just was visiting all of these, you know, they're artisan factories, but they're, you know, they're very little still, you know. And then, you know, so I went there, and everybody was, you know, talking about, you know, the wheat, you know, fresh wheat. You have to use the fresh wheat. And then I went to, you know, to more northern areas, and you know, there was these old ladies in there making everything with their hands and everything, and they were saying, oh, you have to use, you know, stone milled wheat. You know, we get it locally here. And I was like, wow, everyone's using this like stone milled. Everyone's using this fresh wheat. What's happening here? So I emailed Dr. Jones, and I was like, hey, I would love to stop out there and just to, you know, sort of, you know, to see what you're all about, and you know, maybe learn a little, you know, a little something about this. And that's when kind of the whole evolution started, about learning about actual flavor that's in the wheat, you know, and that's kind of what, you know, laid the foundation for the book.
And so in Italy, they've never stopped using fresh ground wheat?
You know, they still use other, you know, they always, you know, they always use still 00 wheat. They always use maybe zero wheat, which is actually just like our, you know, bread flour. But they like also fresh wheat, and the reason is, and you know, this is actually what was kind of, you know, really, I think it was the most eye-opening thing for me, was that fresh wheat is really for the actual flavor, you know, and it's like, to understand that, I think that wheat has flavor is, I think, something really new to all of us, you know. And I thought it was really something worth looking into, you know, when you think about the evolution of, like, you know, the food scene here. you think, well, 30 years ago, everyone just ordered from whoever it was, Cisco, whatever. And then farmers market started to sort of hop up all over the place, and everyone was like, oh, let's use local, let's use fresh vegetables, let's only use local, and then everyone was like, oh, well, let's have fish that's only like line caught fish, this is sustainable fish, and that's all we want to use. And then everyone lately is like, oh, let's only have the animals that are like left to roam, and they're happy, and they only eat this and that and the other thing. But then when you talk about flour, they're all, oh, just let me have the bag of flour, whatever it is, and that lily white flour is zero, has absolutely no flavor. It has no anything, So once you start, playing around with this, fresh milled wheat, and you eat things out of it, you're like, well, that just adds another layer, when you think about, and if you want to ask me something, because I'll just keep going. So you can stop me anytime.
It's your show.
Just stop me, and no, when I think about like the old school, the old school saucier, he made the sauces with all these like layers. You have the wine, you reduce it. You have the vegetables, you reduce it. You add the stock, you reduce it. You add the aromatics, you reduce it. And then you eat it, and it's like, wow, there's all these different flavors in there. What's happening? But when you eat some noodles, you think, well, the noodle is the actual texture, and then the sauce is the sauce. But what if the noodle had flavor? It's like, whoa! It just kind of opened up, for me, like a lot of different things.
So, are you getting local wheat and milling it yourself now?
We are all over the place. Just ask Jeff how much money we've spent on milling over the last 6 months.
Jeff is wiping his
He's
brow.
sweating. My partner, Jeff. It's like.
So where is it coming from? And are you
all over the place now?
Are you milling it in your restaurants?
We have a mill. Okay, not all the restaurants. The one mill. We have a really nice, a little mill, and we are now just looking all over the place. Now we're getting it locally. We're getting some from Anson Mills down in North Carolina. We're getting some from Arizona. We're getting some from New York, and we're just feeling it out. We're working with local farmers, letting them have some seeds, and we're going to start to analyze the soil and to figure out what can actually work here. This area, it actually used to be the wheat belt. This is where there used to be tons of wheat, but then not lately. It's not a whole lot of wheat happening.
So you got a huge response to your post on Huffington Post about the number of people who think they're gluten intolerant.
Yes. Sure there's a few here.
Why?
I think I see some rashes now. Only from listening about wheat. Starting to get rashes.
But clearly, some people have trouble digesting wheat.
Yes, and I'm sure there is an issue, and I think the science is not there yet, and I think we we still have to figure things out. But you know, the obvious thing is, if like you eat, you know, store-bought white bread, you know, that actually starts off as this like this lily white flour, and that's like the loaf within like 4 hours. Like that's not going to be healthy for you. You know, there isn't any fermentation happening. You know, there isn't any fiber in it. There isn't any nutrients in it. You know, there isn't anything.
The bread is made.
Exactly.
More than
you know, and I think that's the large issue. I think that if you eat, you know, a long fermented, you know, whole wheat, you know, healthy artisan loaf, you're going to be fine. You know.
And what is vital gluten? And why
vital
why
wheat
should we
gluten
avoid it?
is like raw vital wheat gluten, which makes things like really soft, you know. So
And that's what they're putting in all these.
when you eat that, you know, Stroman whole wheat, you know, bread, and it's like really soft, you know. You know why it's really soft? Because it has extra loaded raw vital wheat stuff in there, and that's going to make you, you know, really sick, you know.
So that's what people are having a hard
Yeah,
time.
and that, you know,
large
like
digestion.
my wife was eating this, what's it called? Ezekiel, you know, sprouted, you know, healthy, and like she was eating it, you know, always, and she said, I think I'm allergic to gluten. Like, and I'm like, look at what you're eating. Like, just like, look on this. It's like loaded with extra raw vital wheat gluten. You know, it's not healthy for you.
Sounds so healthy, though. Ezekiel, right?
Ezekiel sounds
You're right,
healthy,
right,
yeah.
right.
And
With
it's
all
in,
the
and
seeds and sprouts and everything.
it's at Whole Foods, you know,
Right,
so
right,
it's
right.
really healthy. It's organic, you know. But you know what? Not to interrupt you.
Go ahead.
I do this thing, and it's really, I mean, so whole wheat, freshly milled whole wheat lasts for 48 hours, you know, before it starts to go rancid, you know, because it has all the oils in it, you know. So once you start to, you know, to mill it, I mean, obviously, the oils in there, they start to release, and it actually starts to, you know, break down. So, you know, you have 48 hours, you know, with all that, you know, nice the wheat flavor. But then after that, it's, you know, you start, you know, to lose it, you know. So if you know, so all that stuff that's at like, you know, Whole Foods or any market, I mean, it doesn't matter, Whole Foods, you know, where they say stone milled whole wheat, you know, whole wheat flour, you know, you don't know how old that is, you know, so maybe it's like 6 months old, you know, so if you eat that, okay, just eat a little bit of it, like after 5 seconds, you're going to have this like sort of this rancid, you know, flavor that's in your mouth, and then after it, if you eat some of our like freshly milled stuff, you know, you're going to have this really sort of, you know, it's like a nutty sort of sweet flavor, and it's like such an eye-opening, you know, thing to eat them side by side, you know. So you really start to realize like this is what is like normal for us, you know, to eat this. When if you eat freshly milled flour, it's a completely different thing.
So what kind of bread am I supposed to buy to like make lunches for the kids, right? You know, like what kind of bread am I supposed to buy?
Well, I think that there are some awesome, I think, High Street's making some awesome stuff. Metro is making some awesome stuff. I think there's a lot,
But at the grocery store.
Oh, I wouldn't buy bread at the grocery store. No, you buy that from the bread maker, You buy sausage from the sausage maker. You buy cheese. Listen, it's so easy to go to the market and to just have everything that you need, but it's also nice to maybe head down to the market and stop and snag your vegetables here, and then maybe head to High Street and snag a loaf here. I know, who has time? Right?
I love that idea. Doesn't
That's
that
a great
sound
idea,
wonderful?
right?
Like,
That's how it used to be, right?
Don't you want that life that he has, where you're going shopping in the morning? And
the milkman's going to leave milk on your doorstep, right?
I want that life.
That used to happen a long time ago.
So either we're supposed to buy it at the bakery or bake it ourselves.
Well,
that's our choices.
I really think that there is, and I think that this is, I think folks are really starting to kind of think about what they eat now, and I really think that they're gonna start like making things in the home more often. I think that there's a lot of research now on just like simple bread making that I think will actually make it really easy to make a loaf, and it's, that's really, when you start start to understand things and to really start to become healthy.
So, I do not have pasta in my heritage. I didn't make it with my Irish grandma.
No, definitely not.
And there's probably a lot of people in this audience who haven't made pasta from scratch either. Is this book for us, or is this book for people who are more experienced at making pasta?
This is for everybody.
Convince us why we should be making.
Well, I think it is. Well, just for the reason that, so all of these years, everyone's always asking me that, what's the flour that I have to use for this, and it's always like, oh, you have to get this 00 at this at there, and you have to use these eggs and that. And I just wanted everyone to really start to understand flour. So and once you really read this and you start to understand it. Was that me?
That was me, I think.
Okay.
Sorry.
You can really start to use any flour, and then once you understand, hey, this one is a soft wheat flour. It has 9% protein. So I'm going to add, so it'll be sort of lighter. So I'm going to add some extra eggs to let it have a little bit more of a like a little bit more strength. This one has a 14% protein, so I'm going to add a little bit of oil. I'm going to add a little fat. I'm going to add a little bit less because it's going to be like this.
Can I use that
flour,
gold medal flour that's in my counter?
Sure, you can use the gold medal flour.
Okay.
Yeah, you can use anything, and that's the amazing thing, And you can also, mill flour in like in your home. There are some little ones that you can just mill it and sift it, sift it, and make some. It's next. I'm telling you, it's happening.
I love it.
It's happening.
So like for people who are just starting out, what do you recommend? Should they do like a basic gnocchi? Or
buy my book first.
Buy the book, and then like for your first go at it.
Simple. Just start with
hand-rolled noodles.
Hand-rolled. There's a lot of things in there that are just using your hands, rolling it out, slicing it, and just making a really simple sauce with it. And that's, I mean, for me, that's actually one of the most satisfying things, you know. And I just love doing that. And it's the easiest thing in the, like, that's in there to make. And yeah, I honestly think that anyone can do it.
And the recipes in this book, you promise, will be successful.
They work. Oh my God, we did testing and over testing a lot. Yeah.
So, do you still make pasta at home a lot, like with your kids and everything?
Oh yeah.
That's
sure.
your weekend.
Yeah, they get in there with their little hands. They like.
And do you have a favorite pasta?
Do I have a favorite pasta?
It's like picking between your children, right?
I just love it all. You know, you know, for me, it's just like, you know, so we do these lessons also in the upstairs room that you know we have now at the restaurant, and I just love having folks there and just kind of showing them how easy it is. I literally make everything there from scratch, and they watch, and they're amazed that, like, there was eggs there, and there was some flour there, and there was some tomatoes there, and like now there's this amazing thing, and it all happens in like an hour, and it's like they're eating it and like, wow,
Magic.
I think I could, yeah, like, and they go home and they can do it, usually, sometimes.
There's the key, that usually sometimes.
Some people do. Yeah, it's not hard. It's really not hard.
Can you talk a little bit about how you develop the recipes in your restaurants and obviously in the cookbook, how you come up with putting different ingredients together?
That's a whole thing that like my chefs and like all of us, they're the ones who like really, I think, make me look awesome. We all sit there. We have a lot of we have a lot of food meetings and everything, and we're all just like throwing things out there. And we're like, hey, what about this? What about that? What about this? And I think it's always like someone has a thought, and then we make it, and then someone else says, you know what, that's really awesome, but it's kind of missing this. And then after, we all sort of, flush it out and just kind of talk about it. We sort of finalize these amazing things. So it's not just me sitting there like, I'm going to make this, and it'll be amazing. Rarely, I think it's happened maybe once, have I made something and it's just like, boom, that's it. That's like on the menu. It's always going to be like, hey, what do you think about this? And it's got, you know what? It could use a little acid. It could use a little more texture. It could use it, or it's that has actually too much on it. And that's the awesome thing about surrounding myself with very like-minded folks who we think the same about food. We all just kind of play off of one another.
So you had one awesome restaurant for 10 years, and now you have 7 very different price points.
Soon to be 8.
And soon to be 8.
Well,
okay.
yeah, for the second, the pizzeria.
In Austin?
No, here.
Here,
yeah,
okay,
in
okay.
The Rittenhouse area. That'll be 9, Austin.
Okay. So what is the game plan now? Do you want to do Pizzeria Vetri in every city? And
well, I don't know what I'm allowed to say and what not. And it's, I don't know.
Jeff, cover your ears.
We're just, you know what? we sit there and.
But is it fair to say that that's the
discuss
one that you
things.
think you're going to
It
replicate?
It is, but I mean, honestly, we're having fun, and we're just kind of rolling with it. At the end, we discuss a lot. Where we want to end up in like 5 years, 7 years, 11 years, whatever it is, and it's we want to to run these things, and we eventually we eventually want to work full time for the foundation. So that's the end goal, So. I didn't say that to get applause. It's really how we feel.
Well, actually, I got the high sign that we are supposed to start taking questions from the audience now. So if you have a question, please raise your hand, and please wait till someone comes with a mic right here.
Hi. First of all, thank you for coming back to Philadelphia and staying in Philadelphia.
This is home. Thank
you. And my question is, was there a restaurant concept that you wish you had developed and opened? And if there isn't, is there one in the works that you would like to achieve, but it might be greater than you think you can do?
Greater than, well, that's easy for me. It's, I think that we're big fans of kind of, doing what we we understand, and that's always Italy, so all of our sort of themes are always they always sort of have the sensibility of Italy, and so there's nothing, and when we think about a new one, war is in Italy, we're like, hey, this is really awesome. We should do something like this. So it's now, I don't think that there's anything out there that we were like, oh, we have to open up this, we're not going to open up the hamburger restaurant like a lot of other chefs are, it's not in our wheelhouse. I hope that answered your question.
Have you considered selling the milled flour from your restaurant?
We would. I mean, honestly, we are still in the initial stages of it. We hope that within the next 6 months, that everything that we actually make at Vetri will be milled there, and that's a huge thing. I think to do it for all the restaurants, I don't think is really something that we could actually handle now, but I mean, to mill it and make everything out of the restaurant there, I mean, I just really think that's amazing. I don't know that we'll have left to sell, unless we get a larger mill, which is, I'm getting the stop sign right now.
The best place to get it now would be like a farmer's market. You can
farmer's market has, they have some,
There's another question right here.
Yeah, there's a lot.
I'm just being newsy, but please tell we amateurs that you're still klutzy with a knife and that bandage is from a knife cut.
It is actually from a knife cut. I was in New Orleans over the weekend, and for one of these events, and I was slicing away and sliced my goddamn finger.
How often are you in your restaurants cooking, Mark?
Every day.
There you go.
Believe it or not, yeah. You can just ask the chefs. They want me there less. That's a guarantee.
So, what flours do you use now for the pasta and for the pizza that you currently have?
So we use there's an awesome flour mill actually named they're from Vermont. It's King Arthur flour.
King Arthur.
They're good, So we use them a lot, and then we use some other flours, some 00 flours and everything like that. But
What do you think about the double zero, the Italian double zero you find here?
we use 00. I don't like to get flour from Italy, because I just think it's like it's I don't think it just makes any sense. We have the same flour here. All that is the thickness of it. So it's just a soft wheat. We have soft wheat here, and that's what you really start to understand in this is that you don't have to have that one thing. You can use like I've been actually using just actual 14% bread flour for a lot of them now, and I just kind of shift the eggs a little bit to make it to make it work. So you don't have to get flour from Italy.
There's another question over here.
Okay.
Hi, Mark. I,
Hi.
too, am from South Philly. I grew up there, and my mother made pasta
Sure.
and did the whole thing. But my question to you is, don't you think a lot of the good pasta is also in the gravy or the sauce that it's now called? And the
yeah.
red sauce, the red gravy. As
Sure.
Do you have any hidden ingredient? I mean, my mother, I think, was the best cook ever around. Really? I'm sorry she didn't do what you did.
Absolutely.
But do you also have gravy recipes in the cookbook?
Yeah,
And
sure.
do you have
There
something
is.
special that you do for your gravies?
I just think that I think that they're all about the actual freshness, So I think that there is a tomato sauce in there that's just La Valle, San Marzanos, a little bit of onion, some garlic, a little bit of salt, and sometimes they have a little bit less acid, sometimes they have a little bit more acid. You know the rules. You have a little sugar if it's this. It's just. But yeah, the sauce, I think, makes everything. Sure. That has to. I think that we discuss in there that the old adage is like there is the noodle, and then there's the sauce, and that for me it never really made any sense because it's one. It ought to be. It's like it. I think that it's like the healthy marriage. It's just one thing. So the noodle and the sauce are just kind of one item. So we have to stop thinking about that. Well, here's the noodle, and then you just ladle the sauce on it. You have to just kind of make it in the sauce, and it sort of it's like one item. I think that's important.
There's a question right here.
Can't see.
Thanks so much. So if I want to mill my own wheat at home, which I do now, and is there something I can get that won't cost a fortune? Like, should I buy another coffee grinder and use that, or is
You can use that. I think that there are some $200, $300 small mills out there. I think that the the mixer, that also has the mill thing that actually has on it. But I think there are less money options for those things. But obviously, you can also spend $1,000 for a mill. You can spend whatever you want. I mean, there's larger mills also, but I think it's something really sort of neat, and I bet that within the next within the next 6 months or so, there'll be some sort of mill that's out there on the market, for in the $300-400 range. It's going to be really amazing, for the home, because once you start to sort of see things out there, once all these discussions start to happen, and folks make things, and then so now you can get those the machines for espresso all over the place. So you get them from $100 all the way up to $5,000. They're everywhere, because there was this huge demand for them. So once there is a demand for the flour mill, the same thing will happen.
Here's another question back there.
My question to you is, with your forward thinking about milling at home and your encouragement to make bread in the house, is there a secret to getting that wonderful hard crust that you get on an artisan loaf in the house, baking bread? And secondly, where do you do your pasta classes?
Well, there's a softball question.
Shoot. Well, I'll actually answer the second one first. We do those at the upstairs at Vetri, and I usually teach them once a month, and then we have some of the other chefs also, and they're all on the website. And as for the how do you make the outside bread sort of crust, I mean, we're still working on that one. It's very hard. I mean, I also love making artisan loaves, and we're with all this sort of fresh milled wheat, we've been really making a lot of them lately at all the restaurants, using 30% fresh wheat, 40%, 50%, then we actually go all the way up to 100%, and you really have to just sort of figure it out. I mean, I don't really know how to answer that. The book is mastering the pasta, not mastering bread. Maybe that'll be my next book, mastering bread. I wish I could help you.
There was another question right next to her.
Same question?
Same question. Back here.
There's one right in the middle over there.
Okay, right here.
Sorry.
When you're not eating at one of your restaurants, where do you like to eat in the city? What other chefs inspire you?
Good question.
Well, so me and my wife love to go to Zahav. It's one of our favorite restaurants. We go there a lot. Morimoto, for me, we are so lucky to have that here. I just love sitting at the sushi bar there and just letting them just lay it out. I just think there's no better fish anywhere. We love to go to to Vernick, one of the newer guys. I think he's really amazing. We eat there often. We love where else? Vetri. I've never eaten a Vetri, honestly, so I wouldn't know. Yeah, but I mean, those are the main ones we eat at, I think.
Here's another question in the back here.
Thanks. So is it a myth that at scale, you can't kind of go healthy at scale? I'm thinking of school systems, and if you were to change, I mean, if you go beyond the micro batch, are school systems and sort of larger systems priced out of healthy eating? And if not, what kinds of things would you institute?
Well, no. The answer is they aren't. They aren't. Priced out of healthy eating. They think they are, but this is obviously it's a discussion very near and dear to me. We've been actually working on this issue for the last 6 years, and you're allotted basically $2.86 for lunch for each student, and so half of that heads to labor, and then the other half heads to food. So we do our healthy lunch. So that basically leaves like $1.25 for food, which is not a lot of money. So, we have at the Vetri Foundation, we have our healthy eating initiatives, and we do healthy style, family style, school lunch programs, and we are able to feed everyone for just $1 and 50 cents, and we give them fresh vegetables, we give them fresh meat, fresh lettuces, and we make this really amazing healthy, this really amazing healthy lunch for only sorry, I'm losing my voice a little bit, for only 25 cents more than is allowed. So the notion that everybody, that all the actual naysayers out there, and there is a lot of them, who said, oh, your lunch will never work, it'll never do this, they won't eat it, they won't do that. It's all, it's all sort of, nonsense. And, that's what the mission of our foundation is, to make everyone, really understand that, you don't have to eat, the Lays and the hot dogs and the lunches that are in those little things that you open up and steam comes out and you're like, what's that? I don't know. I don't know. And they just kind of throw it out. But seriously, that's why things like, what they're actually doing here at the library here with, their whole new, thing that they have up on the roof here. You know, just kind of, you know, showing students how to eat. How to make things. You know, all that stuff. You can learn everything through food. You know, you can learn math, you can learn science, you can learn English, you can learn anything. And I think you can learn history. Everything you can learn through food. And that's why food is really the one thing that I think is you know, really starting to really bring us all together, you know. So I don't know if I answered you, but there is. I mean, no, you don't have to eat shit. Basically, is what I'm saying.
Do we have any other questions out there?
That's a good way to end, by the way.
Is there one more question?
Sorry, one more question.
Go ahead.
Thank you very much. I was just curious if you've done much experimenting with other things beside wheat flour, combining almond flour, chestnut flour, quinoa flour, you know.
Sure.
You know, and what kind of results have you?
We actually have some nut flours that are in the book. We have a recipe for almond. We have a recipe for pistachios, I think, in there. Yeah.
Is it chestnut flour?
Yeah, chestnut flour is in there, you know, as well. So yes, you know, we have done things. You know, you normally have to mix those with some other flour, you know, for them to sort of hold, you know, because they're more fat and the oil's in there. So obviously, if the wheat's not in there, they're really just gonna, you know, fall apart, like when you actually stick it in the water. So yeah, you have to add some of the wheat to it, but there is recipes in there for that as well. Runs the gamut.
So that's it. Thank you very much, Mark.
Thank you.
And Mark will be signing copies of his book in the lobby.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.